A look now at the jobs market with the economy on the cusp of recovery. Let's get the insights of Jobstreet Country Manager Philip Gioca. Philip, thank you so much for joining us. 7.7% growth from the October to December period. Did this growth reflect in the number of jobs created late last year? Did it have the same projection?
Yes, it's the same projection that we have felt in our job market. In fact, in 2021, we saw 900,000 jobs, and majority of these jobs were generated on the second half, and also pinpointing Q4. There were about 250,000 jobs that were posted, and the good thing about those jobs is that it offered a bigger salary offer to those people working in 22 different industries.
All right. Let's take a look at those 22 industries. Falling COVID infections, of course, one of the key reasons. More kababayans getting vaccinated, and the opening up of the economy really jump-started economic growth. Where were most of the jobs created in the last quarter of last year?
When you look at the industries, you could see the education industry, public service, social services, electronics, computer and IT, marketing and advertising, telecoms, healthcare, construction, and communication services. If you notice, most of these are the ones who thrived during the pandemic, which means that they were the industries who pivoted quickly to digitalization.
So what was the average rise in the salaries of these industries that you mentioned?
Across these industries, the average increase was 23%. Job offer, higher pay compared to 2020.
Well, that's quite a huge jump in salary raise, Philip. And were most of the jobs created, were this permanent, contractual, or daily work?
In our reports, it's mainly formal, permanent jobs. But we have other data sets that tells us that there were an increased number of gig jobs. These include freelancing jobs, virtual assistants, and remote work.
All right, but were there other sectors apart from these 22 industries that offered lower salaries?
Well, that's the case. To balance it out, there were also sectors that were hampered in terms of giving higher salaries, such as oil and gas, hospitality, industrial equipment, some of the BPOs, consumer goods, banking and finance, real estate, retail and trade, and insurance.
So the trends that you saw in the second half of the year towards the last quarter of 2021, Philip, will this trend continue in the first quarter of 2022?
Actually, we are seeing a very aligned numbers that it will go up and increase some more. It was just only a bump in January when we experienced Omicron. But despite that, if you notice, the traffic is back. Many jobs are actually being offered now. 75,000 jobs per day in any given time as compared to 59,000 last year. So you would see that there are really expansion happening in key segments of our job market.
All right, expansion in key segments of the job market. But are there also other areas in the job market that our kababayans can explore for new opportunities, which are not really part of the 22 industries that are offering higher salaries?
Yes, they could explore services. Many of our kababayans are invited to go to services sector, manufacturing, building and construction. But the latest and biggest demand now is IT software.
And are companies overseas also hiring Filipinos to do their respective jobs? Because with the pandemic, we saw a widening of the digitalization space. Are we also seeing foreign companies who don't have companies here hiring Filipino talent?
Yes, Rico, this is the new trend that we have seen. There are a growing number of what we call remote working condition. That means the principals are actually based overseas and they're hiring Filipinos while they are working at home. And the good thing about that is that they are given the same benefits, same remuneration as if they were working in their country. So this is a growing trend, and that is part of the economy or gig jobs that we have seen drastically increasing in the last quarter of last year.
All right. Despite the growth in the economy of 7.7% the last quarter, more than 5% in all of 2021, there are still a lot of our kababayans who are watching us right now who are unemployed or underemployed. What would be your advice for them as they look for new jobs in the first quarter of this year?
Okay, so first and foremost, they need to be present in the digital space where you need to have an online profile and be guided by Jobstreet as a trusted platform of jobs. Second is that while they're waiting for work, it's very important that they try to retool themselves, upskill themselves, specific to digital and ways of working on the digital space. It only means that you can use YouTube, you can use many online platforms to teach yourself and learn for yourself many ways of dealing with, not necessarily programming, but really working towards how to use a platform, how to communicate through many online platforms. So that's a key ingredient now being sought after by employers because we believe this pandemic, despite its lowering of number of cases, we will still have what we call a hybrid model of work. That means there will be times you go to the office, there will be time working from home, depending on the cases or severity of cases in the area. So having a digital knowledge, online knowledge, is a key ingredient now for getting a job.
Great advice for our kababayans who are looking for jobs in 2022. Philip Gioca, Country Manager of Jobstreet Philippines.